It's Two Steps on the Train. 9 o'clock, walking in the door, tired from another day. 26 feels all too young, he's living life from pay to pay. And Tom the baker sat next to me, same old look on his face. And he said, wouldn't be much a friend to you to let you go on killing time this way, 'cause you can't go wasting all your days down in sugar hollow. So my advice to you, my friend, is to get out of where you came, 'cause you only got this life to live. We all go out to say, ain't a dress rehearsal, kid. Take 2 steps on the train, then you sing it. Later we were heading north, 3 boys and a case of booze. Broke down on 81, south of Syracuse. We said, bottoms up, then we hopped the truck, turned to walking shoes. Didn't bother even locking up, we left nothing there to lose. Yeah, you say you can't go wasting all your days down in sugar hollow. So my advice to you, my friend, is to get out of where you can, 'cause you only got this life to live. We all go out the same. Ain't a dress rehearsal, kid. You take 2 steps on the train, then you sing. Hit ground in that familiar town, had a few friends there to boot. Not a plan, it was starting to pan, I called it the Northern Route. Worked in bars, support our cause, hang around and brew. Brought a cake to every show, raise a hell for a time or 2. Yes, you say you can't go wasting all your days down in sugar hollow. So my advice to you, my friend, get out of where you can, 'cause you only got this life to live. We all go out the same. Ain't a dress rehearsal, kid. You take 2 steps on the train, and you say you can't go wasting all your days down in sugar hollow. So my advice to you, my friend, is to get out where you can, 'cause you only got this life to live. We all go out the same. Ain't a dress rehearsal, kid. You take 2 steps, 2 steps on the train. 2 steps on the train. Taking 2 steps on that train. 2 steps on the train. Taking 2 steps on that train. That's it. Thank you. My eyes started.
Yeah, continue.
All right. We're here today with Alex Cano. Alex Cano is a Pound Ridge-based rock Americana artist whose songs range from high-energy alternative and blues-based rock to more intimate Americana, folk, and country. He's been compared to artists and bands such as Foo Fighters, Led Zeppelin, Pearl Jam, The Black Crowes, Jason Isbell, and Johnny Cash. His debut album, Every Rise of the Sun, was released in 2019, and he has toured nationally ever since. Alex has opened for bands and groups such as the Plain White Tees, Gin Blossoms, and Band of Heathens, as well as performed at numerous music festivals. Alex says his album was inspired by his own life, and if you listen to it cover to cover, there's a storyline filled with some intense highs and lows that ultimately ends in resolve. Pace magazine said of his album, quote, Cano holds his ground, fully embodying self-sustainability and creating an entirely reputable album as an independent artist. Alex is currently working on his second album, and he plans to begin releasing singles from the album, hopefully this summer. Mm-hmm. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
You as well.
We're going to start off with talking about your childhood.
My childhood.
Your beloved childhood in Vista.
Oh, yeah.
How
Here
old?
we are.
Yeah, where we're back. The studio is actually in Vista. How old were you when you picked up your first musical instrument?
I think like 3 or 4.
What was it?
Piano.
Okay.
Which I barely play today, but...
Do you remember how you felt when you would sit down as a 3 or 4-year-old to play?
Yeah, definitely. You know, both my parents are musicians.
Okay.
So my mom's a piano teacher. Mm. My father owns a music school in Scarsdale. He's a bassoonist. And so we always had like classical music playing throughout the house, and we're both big Beatles fans. Nice. Yeah, I started with like the Suzuki method, which is like this, you know.
Yeah. You can explain it for everybody else.
Yeah, Suzuki is a piano instruction method that's all by ear. Is that me?
No, that was me.
Oh, sorry. My mother was actually pretty high up in the ranks of Suzuki piano teachers, so I learned through that.
And did you learn to read music as well eventually?
Oh yeah. I started playing violin a little bit in school, and I think it was like 3rd or 4th grade, and then got into playing drums in 4th grade, which was my main. I probably still consider it my main instrument.
Oh, interesting. Since then,
yeah.
So was that through just the school music program?
No, I studied with a guy named Phil Grice at Crestwood Music, which my father owns, and I was obviously involved in all the school stuff too.
Right. What musical instrument did you play at school?
Drums.
Okay.
Yeah, drums and percussion.
And the recorder. Obviously.
I did play a recorder. Yeah, we all did. Yeah.
Who or what, I guess your parents inspired you, but besides your parents, who or what inspired you as a child musically?
A lot. I mean, it's funny because my family is all in music, but everyone's kind of got their own direction. You know, like my mom's path is very different than my father's, which is extremely different from like my father's brothers, you know, and although like I really enjoyed classical music growing up, and especially classical percussion, I think one of the first things I remember was the first time we got cable as a kid, and I put on MTV because it was music videos all day back then, and I still remember some really specific songs. Like I remember All Apologies by Nirvana when that came out. Yeah. I was really, really little. And that really excited me, you know, and I guess for a while, I don't know if I fell out of it or what, but I had this friend John, who lived in Florida most of the year and came up to visit his grandparents in Vista, who lived 2 doors down from me, every summer. And John's dad was like this biker, so like John had this like long curly hair, and he was really into stuff like Metallica and all this rock music that like I never heard of at the time. So when I met him, I was probably like 7 or 8 years old, and he turned me on to all this, you know, rock and roll stuff, and we would put on strobe lights in the house, take out like the Halloween decorations, and like play Metallica records full blast and put on like rock shows in my house. And he actually played drums, and before I ever started studying drums classically, my mom had this like paper mache, she was a school music teacher in Yonkers, she had this like paper mache drum that she would use with the kids, and my dad was renting instruments at the time and let me take home a snare drum. Nice. And John taught me a few different grooves using the paper mache drum as a kick and the snare drum, and I just became absolutely hooked.
And the violin, of course, is just the classic instrument for
Yeah.
Metallica and other.
Yeah, that was a short-lived endeavor, but I have a great appreciation for the violin and fiddle playing.
Right. I played violin as a kid too, so
Nice.
I hear you.
Nice.
What did your parents think of first with Metallica and Nirvana, like All Apologies, all of that? I mean, that's a very different.
Beatles were big too.
Right.
My
Well,
dad turned me on to the Beatles.
okay, that I can see. I mean, was your dad into the classical music as well?
Big time. Yeah,
Okay.
he has his doctorate from Manhattan School of Music,
Okay.
master's from Juilliard. He's like big into
Yeah.
it.
So were they trying to pull you away from it? Were they welcoming of you getting more into alternative and metal?
Totally welcoming. I don't know if I really went down the metal rabbit hole. It kind of like started and ended with Metallica and Sabbath. I never went down the whole like death metal sort of thing. But something about like electric guitars and that energy. I was a hockey player growing up, and I showed my dad the Black album, and he really liked it. It's musically brilliant stuff. And so we used to bump that stuff, driving all over New England, playing on the way to travel hockey games. No, he was very encouraging.
Or the Metallica album with the San Francisco Philharmonic. Did you ever listen to that?
I never listened to that, actually.
You should.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's actually really incredible. Now I'm getting into
Okay.
it. I was a huge Metallica fan in high school.
Nice, all right.
It's a really gorgeous album because they take all of the more classic songs and you have the whole Philharmonic
I could see
behind it.
Of course.
It's amazing.
Kirk was a Juilliard grad, too. Kirk Hammett, yeah.
It's interesting. There's a lot of more rock or metal musicians who are classically trained.
Absolutely.
How have those early influences, Nirvana, Metallica, influenced or impact your career today?
Well, it definitely got me started. Something about the attitude of that music. I was growing up, I was a very ADHD, hyperactive kid, which went with hockey, and a lot of that attitude kind of matched my energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggle with a lot of like anxiety and depression as a kid too, so even lyrically James's lyrics and Kurt's lyrics really spoke to me. Nirvana's, I remember hearing that when I was real little, but I really got into them in high school.
Yeah.
Like freshman year in high school. It was just, it was kind of the soundtrack of what you're going through.
Yeah.
I still remember the first time I ever heard Smells Like Teen Spirit. I was in our condo, and my friend Matt Howardell walks in the front door. We're all playing video games out upstairs. I'd been like trying to form a band, and he walks in, singing that chorus. I was like, dude, what the hell is that? And he's like, you've never heard of Smells Like Teen Spirit? I was like, no, what is that? And he played it. I was completely hooked. That was it.
How old were you when you formed your first band?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Can I unplug your refrigerator?
Yeah, absolutely, right behind you.
I don't know, can you?
Yeah, I forgot about that. I unplugged everything else and turned the air off.
Yeah, I don't think it'll matter until now, but doesn't matter.
What is in my throat? Okay.
Still smoking?
A couple packs a day. Okay, so we'll do that part again. So how old were you when you formed your first band?
I think it was sophomore year in high school. I spent like the whole freshman year trying to form a band and jamming with people. It was really when I like got into like rock drumming. But as it always is, it's difficult to find people, especially at that age when you're really young and people are just getting started. And we went through various lineups and stuff, and then sophomore year, I met my buddy Ryan McLean, who I still play with. He plays lead guitar in my group, and we were in jazz band together with our bass player at the time, Tim Lukow. And there was one jazz band where I don't know, there was inclement weather or something, but it got canceled. And ironically, the three of us didn't know, and we were the only three that showed up. So in the John Jay High School band room, Ryan had his guitar and amp, Tim had an electric bass, I was playing drums, and Ryan taught us all of Whip and Post by the Allman Brothers. And we were like, hey guys, maybe this is a thing. And we were a band all through high school.
And were you singing at that time too?
No.
Okay.
I closet singing.
Right. Shower.
Yeah, I got myself into singing some backups with Ryan. But no, Ryan's voice is incredible. He was like the front man of our high school. So I was happy playing drums.
So did you do jazz band all through high school?
Yeah.
How old were you when you finally decided I'm going to be a musician?
High school. Yeah, it was always going to be like hockey and baseball or music. I went through like the BMX phase for a while too. But I ended up going to college for exercise science and pre-physical therapy, along with music. You know, at the time everyone's kind of pushing you to have a backup.
Yeah.
And I really like that stuff. And honestly, that knowledge base has become very beneficial, like in my life and, you know, for my loved ones and stuff. But I knew it was going to be music. I graduated college, and 6 months later into my physical therapy internship, I was done. I moved right back to Ithaca, got a bartending job and a ski lift operating job, worked doubles and wrote songs.
So did you start is that when you started singing?
Yeah, I was singing a little bit in high school, but right after college, I went through I was with this girl for some time, and I went through this breakup, and I was just that heartbroken dude with a bunch of stuff to write about. So it was like, I'll give that a shot, you know.
When did you pick up a guitar for the first time?
High school. Yeah, I was like, my mom taught me to play, and I was writing songs for that band with Ryan and Tim. Like, I would write the instrumentals for that, and then Ryan would top line the lyrics. So it was really just a writing tool. I never intended to take it seriously.
The guitar.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then it happened, I guess.
Do you remember how old you were when you composed your first piece?
Serious piece or joke song?
Either.
I wrote joke songs all my life.
Were they ever any good?
I mean, it gave me a laugh. I don't know.
Do you remember the names of any of them or what they were about?
A lot about having ADD. And a lot of things that I would take from psychiatry appointments that I thought were funny at the time.
Oh. You know, I bet you could help a lot of children.
Yeah. No.
It could be the alternative kids album.
I don't think you want any of my stuff. But no, high school I was writing instrumentals. I wrote a couple songs with lyrics, but I don't know, I was always afraid to write lyrics. Joke lyrics, if I didn't have to take the song seriously, I could write all day long. And instrumentals always came to me, and it's still like that. Lyrics are always the hardest part for me. But I think once I got out of college and I was in that state where I wanted to give a shot, you know, being a front man and just going out and writing songs, I got really, really into old country music, really deeply into Chris Christopherson and Johnny Cash, and it was the soundtrack of honestly how I was living at the time. It was something I just had to do it. Didn't have a choice. I was listen, I've written a million joke songs. I gotta be able to write a real one. So
send him off to Weird Al.
Yeah.
So he could.
So I'll take a stab at serious lyrics. All right.
When was the first time you composed something that you were proud of?
With lyrics included?
Sure.
Back Against the Wall was probably the first song that I wrote that I really loved. I had plenty of instrumentals from high school that I still enjoy, but that was the one. I wrote the song I'll Wait before that. And to be honest, I never loved that song at the time. Never intended for it to make the record. And then it did, and we played it live, and it evolved over time. I really love that song.
Yeah.
But
how has it changed from when you first composed it to what it's morphed into that you now love?
when you play something live for a long time, you just start to do things different, differently. The arrangement changed. The arrangement on the record, there's a lot more instrumentation. Now we play that mostly as like an acoustic trio song. So it took much more of a minimalist character over time. Actually, like strip more away, learn to sing it better. Kind of the meaning of the lyrics changed to me over time.
That's interesting.
And also watching people, interpret the song. Like I always say with songwriting, it's like the only time we really have to ourselves with music is the creation process itself, and that can mean whatever to the writer. A song can mean one or a multitude of things. A line could have 3 different meanings to you. But once that song's released or once that song's played live, it's like it's theirs now. And it's really fun to see how people interpret stuff.
Yeah.
That's like one of the greatest gifts of songwriting. And then you think like, I never even thought of it that way. Maybe I did mean that. I didn't even realize when I wrote it,
People will tell you what it means to them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about your music education. So I know your mom was teaching you piano at a young age.
Yeah.
Was it just through your mom and through the school, or did you end up...
Yeah, I studied with a guy named Dennis Malone, who was our dean of faculty for a long time. And then my first drum teacher was Phil Grice, who actually recently passed away, but brilliant teacher. And, he came from a jazz and classical background, so I was really heavy into that, playing like snare drum and timpani and mallet percussion. And then I started in high school, for the beginning of my drum education. I was doing a lot of drum set, rather. It was a lot of self-taught, and then I had a couple great drum set teachers in high school. I had Adam Christgau and Brian Griffin, and my uncle Jocelyn, he was a percussionist for the Ottawa Symphony, but like amazing, Latin drummer and world percussionist. So most of them, and then at Ithaca College I ended up minoring in music, and then I did a bunch of post-bac stuff at Purchase in Berkeley. I was gonna do a music major, and then I just, at the time, I don't know, for whatever reason, I got into the program, and I was like, I'm just gonna do a minor for now, and then I ended up finishing more than I would have as a major after graduating. So
that was, you could choose the classes, I assume, you wanted to take, which is a little different.
Yeah, I needed something else too.
Yeah.
I think music and fitness have always been hand in hand to me. So exercise science was I'm fascinated by the human body. My grandfather was a pathologist, so it was nice to study something different. It balanced it well for me.
And then what about guitar? Is that all self-taught?
Yes and no. My mom got me started with chords. I've had various guitar teachers for short periods of time. The one I studied the most with was Arlen Roth, taught me slide. That wasn't until the pandemic. That was kind of my pandemic adventure, was getting into slide guitar. Yeah. It was all remote. FaceTime slide guitar.
Wow. I think the slide's so cool.
Yeah, and that's become my biggest thing now. So I study voice with Dr. William Riley. That one I study seriously for the last 10 years.
And are you still taking voice lessons? See, kids?
Yeah.
Even people who do this professionally, lessons are important.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he texted me 5 minutes before this, actually. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
What do you learn when you're taking a lesson? I mean, are you focused on something specifically you've written, or is it extending your range?
Everything. Yeah, actually, I started studying voice after I hemorrhaged my voice 10 years ago. I had a really serious vocal injury.
Wow. Did you need surgery?
No, I avoided the surgery, but it was a 2-year rehab.
Wow.
That was right before the first record. And I was working with...
Of course.
Yeah, right. I was working with Dr. Riley's wife, Dr. Linda Carroll, who's a very well-known speech pathologist, and she really got me out of that, and then kind of graduated me to Dr. Riley, who's worked with everybody from like Celine Dion to Springsteen,
Wow.
Roseanne Cash, Plant, all them. So
Wow. That's cool.
yeah, you work on everything there. Definitely
Yeah.
individual songs, but it started with just learn to sing rock and roll safely. to, to really falling in love with the voice as an instrument.
Yeah. How do you feel you've evolved as a musician over the years?
Hopefully gotten better.
Do you think your sound has evolved? Do you think your style has changed?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a couple things. I guess number one is just, yeah, stylistically, you draw from more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the stuff I was writing in high school, if I was to list you my influences, I would have said Jimi Hendrix number one, early Red Hot Chili Peppers, Led Zeppelin, riff rock, funky stuff, just super high energy, groovy things. And that was the energy of that time. And then, like I was saying, like, coming out of college, I'd never been into country music as a kid. And it was just the right time in my life where that music, that old country, the Highwaymen, you know, it was like borderline autobiographical.
Yeah.
You know, like I so deeply related to Chris Christopherson. That music was magic to me. So now all of a sudden that just became a part. And inevitably in your writing, you know, that becomes an influence whether you're trying or not.
Yeah.
And I think as an artist, you know, obviously we're always living, we're always going through new experiences, and we find music. It's funny how music seems to find you at the perfect time in your life.
Yeah.
And it'll change you as a writer. It'll even change you as a player. And then, you know, as a player and as a singer, as you evolve and your kind of toolbox gets more elaborate, like you learn slide guitar or you learn different singing techniques, and all of a sudden you can do something that you couldn't do a year ago, and now you can use it. You know, it helps you evolve. And third, I would say the people that you play with. It's massive.
Right. Yeah.
I actually think if I was to tell you the best guitar teacher I ever had was Ryan McLean. I picked more stuff up. Yeah, I mean, and playing with him, because, you know, we're really into like highly improvisational music. So like playing solo sections with Ryan over and over again and following and seeing the patterns that he would get into, and, you know, obviously loving bands like the Allman Brothers, you know, and who are into that kind of thing. Yeah, you don't even mean to, but you totally rip off your friends.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin Myers, who's my full-time drummer live, my keys player on the record, I mean, we influence each other all the time. We turn each other on to different music all the time. He's changed my playing, vice versa.
That's cool.
Sorry, Kevin. But yeah, that's why it's really good to be in different projects, you know, for all the kids listening to something like this. Play with as many people as you can, and really take it seriously, and rehearse your butts off, you know, and learn everything you can. Be a sponge. Always play with people who are better than you. Always people, you know, be humble about it. We never have it all figured out. One of the most beautiful things about music is, like, there's not enough time in life to do everything that you want to do musically. Yeah. You're always growing. If you're bored in music,
it's not for you.
It's really. I mean, it's impossible. Or you're focused on the wrong things. You know what I mean? Like, you're focused on perhaps, like, you know, listen, everyone wants to take things to a high level, but if, you know, like, the attention of being, like, a pop or a rock star is your driving force, that's going to get hollow real quick. You're going to find yourself really disappointed in the process, where the process is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no, everyone's timeline is different. Everybody's life is different. I mean, nobody really knew Willie Nelson's name until his late 40s, 50s.
It's true.
Imagine if he quit.
Right.
You know, he was a ghostwriter in Nashville, but nobody knows like the real Shotgun Willie Nelson until he moved back to Austin and the whole thing. So, you know, but you have to love the music.
Yeah.
You have to love the process, and you want to just keep always, you know, being a sponge to different styles, listening to as much stuff as you can, actively listening to as much stuff as you can, and, you know, certainly as you go through life, finding the music that speaks to you in certain periods of time. If you find something that's speaking to you at one point, lean into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you find an artist that you love, figure out who influenced them.
Right.
Who'd they play with? You know, who was in their scene? What did they listen to? What was that scene? Keith Richards is a really fascinating person with that. You know, when you think about like the Stones history and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Keith is such a music nerd. And he'll talk to you, you know, I watch all his interviews and stuff. He'll speak for hours on like Muddy Waters and John Lee Hooker and all the old blues stuff, dating back to all the Delta stuff from the 30s and on. And those guys the Stones were just like, they were always students. Flea from the Chili Peppers says the same thing. They're always students. They're always trying to get better. So if that's your mentality, no matter how big or whatnot, wherever you are in your career, you can't be bored. It's an amazing world to be in.
Right. And then you can be like Flea and play 500 instruments.
Yeah.
And never quit learning.
Of course.
Speaking of the process, approximately how long, if you can tell me, does it take to write a song, the lyrics, composing the music, and which comes first for you?
It can take anywhere from 10 minutes to 10 years. I'm serious. I wrote songs like All Wait Was in a Sitting, Two Steps on the Train. I had the melody for I don't know, 5 years before that song came out. I was writing a song for this folk rock group I was in at the time, the Northern Route. I threw them a nod with a lyric in there. And then my friend passed, who I was bartending with, and the line "It ain't a dress rehearsal" was the first line that his sister said at his eulogy, and I remember how many times he used that with me. I went home the day after he passed. I wrote that song in 20 minutes.
Wow.
But they're not all like that, you know. Like sometimes you get an idea and it just flows through you, and that's great. Other times, you know, you might write the seed. This oftentimes happens to me. I'll write the seed anywhere from months to years before I'll actually write the song. Like I'm always just writing, like laying down like little voice memos and stuff. And
like
sometimes you'll just be like scanning through your voice memos and be like, and one just speaks to you on that day, and then it takes a sitting, you know. Other songs, it takes them years to craft, and then you still never feel like they're totally done. You can always change them, you know? But no, music to me music is easier. For me, songs get finished when I have the concept. If I know exactly what I want to say, like with Two Steps, it was so damn clear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once that whole thing came together, then they just write themselves. It's like having an outline, writing an essay.
Right.
You know. But yeah, every song is a little bit different. They're all written a little bit differently.
What are some of the challenges you faced being an indie musician, first of all, and just, you know, being out there in this day and age when there's all the social media, you know, there's so much it takes, I think, to be an artist today. But what are some of your challenges, either professionally or personally, that have been in your way?
That's a good question. Well, I think I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bad thing, but in today's day and age, you know, as an artist, your list of responsibilities to your project is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're a solo artist, if you're not in a band to delegate tasks. Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine, number one, you're the sole creator of your stuff. You've got to write constantly. You're a band leader. You're a manager. You're a booking agent. You have to fund everything, which I would say is one of the biggest challenges, especially now. You know, I always laugh. It's like I have a desk job.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm here all the time. You're booking all the tours. You're figuring everything out. You're learning the logistics as you go. You're your social media person. You're your video editor. You know, and eventually you can delegate these tasks. But every time you delegate tasks, you know, things cost money too. So you're balancing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then life never stops.
Right.
You know, and you never know when like a pandemic's going to happen or a loved one's going to pass.
Right.
You know, or you're going to find yourself in a really rough financial time or a health crisis or a family's health crisis.
Right.
You know, a lot of personal stuff there from the last few years, but you know, you still have to keep up with all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest challenge for me personally is that I think the thing that gets affected the most is creativity. Like, I can always tour. I can always perform. I can always run a rehearsal. Because that's just so comfortable.
Right.
That I can do that if the room's on fire.
Right.
You know? But creativity is different. You know, because you could be getting all this stimulus and it's like, oh, you must have all these things to write about. True. But you do need to process it.
Right.
Sometimes, you know, it's always good to capture the raw emotion the best you can. But sometimes you need time to process it and make sense. And I find myself writing things sometimes in retrospect once I've like had time to like really think about it.
Yeah. That's kind of an unspoken rule in journalism. You know, if something happens to you, you should really wait a couple of years before you write about it, because the anger or the sadness or the whatever is going to be the main emotion right away.
Right.
Right? And you don't have that opportunity to really sit back and process and take everything in.
Totally.
And it's a totally different version of what comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's tough, you know,
Yeah.
to keep up. You know, it's easy to find yourself blocked as an artist when all that stuff swallows you.
Yeah.
You know, and just even, you know, like, you know, you feel blessed to be able to be making music full time. But, you know, as you know, it's like, that's not always the most financially stable thing. So, you know, you can get really, I mean, there are gigs that are extremely lucrative. You know, you can go out and do corporate events and private events and weddings and stuff. I do all the time. I'm still play drums for that stuff constantly. But it's very easy to get caught up in the whole like working musician thing, where you just get really, really busy, and that's great, and you're like, this is awesome, just making music all the time. It's like, well, how creative are you being though?
Right.
You know, and then time passes and you're like, oh shit, I didn't write anything in 6 months. Like,
Is it hard for you to set aside creative time? I mean, typically creativity just comes, right? But are you able to set aside time and then use it effectively?
Creativity, that's a great question. Creativity always, yes, it does come. Every time you're driving a car, in the shower, doing any sort of mindless activity. Rick Rubin, I keep this book right there, like, always talks about it. Like, you're doing those kind of autopilot activities, like, seeds come all the time. I write lines all day long. But you do need to set aside time to craft, to finish things.
Yeah.
You need a good workspace. That doesn't have to be extravagant, but it has to be yours. So I built the studio here.
Yeah.
You know, because you have to have that place where you can close the door and just be yourself, completely uninterrupted and unfiltered. Whatever that is. That could be your apartment. That could be your closet. I don't care.
Right, your car.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah. But no, having, like, there is definitely a discipline to the craft that you need to have and maintain. It's much like fitness. It's like if you don't use it, you lose it. That doesn't mean you can't get it back, but it's something that you have to keep up with all the time. It's a muscle.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and you don't get in shape by thinking about going, you don't wait to be in shape to go to the gym, because it's more fun to go to the gym when you're in shape, obviously. Much like creativity, you don't wait to start writing until you feel inspired. Most of the time, actually, you have to go in there and just say, listen, day one is going to suck.
Right.
But I got to get through day one, and then I got to go back tomorrow and get through day two. And it's just one day at a time. And then eventually, all of a sudden, you know, you give yourself permission to write garbage. It's like you give yourself permission to run for the first time in a year, and you barely make it through a mile. And eventually you're getting through 6 miles again.
Right.
Eventually you're writing songs and sittings again, and you actually like them. Maybe. You know?
Do you save all the stuff that you think is garbage because maybe there's a morsel of it that's good at a later point?
Yeah, if I die, don't go through my phone. There's tons of garbage. Yes. I save most of it. I hate that. It's like, that's like I don't know if any other artist feels that way, but I like have that subconscious fear that, like, I don't know, I won't be here and someone's gonna go through all my old notebooks and be like, dude, what an idiot. Like,
Or well, you know, what is it? One man's junk is another man's treasure?
yeah.
Maybe someone else sees the brilliance.
Well, it's like the song Wagon Wheel. You know about that?
Yeah.
The song, I mean, most people know like the Darius Rucker version, but it's an old Crow Medicine Show song that Bob Dylan started.
Oh.
Yeah, and he just junked it. It was like a Bob Dylan outtake. And then they found the song and they decided, they're like, is it cool if we finish this? And he didn't care.
Huh.
He was just a total throwaway. And then it became like a #1 country hit.
But everybody does that too. I remember the United States one time had Da Vinci at the Met, but it was like Da Vinci's notebooks that they found under a couch. It was Da Vinci, but yeah, it wasn't. Everyone's got a notebook somewhere.
Yeah. No, everyone writes garbage, and garbage is necessary.
Yeah.
It's necessary, you know.
You got to get it out.
Yeah. You really have to allow yourself, just like in the practice room, you really have to allow yourself permission to suck.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only way to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, I think.
And anything.
I agree. Write anything creative. I don't know, Justin, for you, with
All
art.
the time. I'll be in the shower or driving the car and I'll be like, that's the one. I'll be convinced that's the one. And then I'll sit down and work on it. And I realize it either sucks or it needed a lot more.
Yeah.
You definitely need to sit there in the process and hammer some nails into it and see if it's sticking and see if the idea you had is actually going to play.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sometimes you surprise yourself too. Like, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but some of my favorite songs are the ones that I was not excited about. So I just like let myself finish as practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then they turned into something. Actually, the first single that I'm about to release, like, I was doing like a Berkeley songwriting course over COVID, and for like a class assignment, I took this song that I was sure was going to be a throwaway, just because I didn't want to use something I seriously cared about for the assignment. And then it ended up being a song like, damn, this one's got some juice.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, and I would have never known that if I never, like, you know, gave it a shot.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to not take something you don't take seriously. Asleep at the Wheel was the same thing. Never intended that to be on a record. I was jamming on that for fun with my buddy Dan in a rehearsal studio. I was like, dude, what's that? I was like, I don't know, some stupid thing I wrote like in college. I was like, oh, we should, like, you know, should finish that. So I was like, all right, I'll take it home for fun.
Right.
Brought it back. We started playing. Like, all right.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you feel like so far have been some of your greatest achievements, whether it was a pivotal performance or opening for someone who you really admired? You know,
I'm still here sitting in this room with you.
There you go.
Currently. A miracle. No. I don't know. You know, some of those opening gigs were were definitely fun. I mean, like the Plain White Tees gig in White Plains. There's irony with that. They didn't realize that until they were on stage. Like, wait a minute, Plain White Tees, White Plains.
We get it.
Yeah. No, those are great. Some of the festival gigs are great. The Sleepy Hollow Music Festival coming up, that's cool. But I really think my proudest achievement of it to date is, as silly as it sounds, it's like still doing it and being able to do it full time and still like loving it, because it's such a roller coaster. You know, I'm proud to be able to make a living, whatever that living may be, doing it. I think more importantly, I'm proud of how I've seen it affect people. That would be the big one for me. I know like guys
that.
I work with are like that too, but there's something so much bigger than the music. Whatever, you know, however far you are in your career, this would be to anybody listening to this, you know, every time you write a song and somebody hears it, it's healing for a person. Every time you go on stage and you create a moment where a community comes together and shares an energy and is taken out of whatever stresses of life for that period of time, it's healing to people. Every time that you take the time to, you know, to speak to people after a show, every time that you're cleaning up and you get into a great conversation with the wait staff or the crew, it's all healing. When you're traveling and you get to have interactions with people, everybody knows obviously you're in a band. When you walk into the gas, oh, you guys must be a band. What gave it away? I don't know. Like, the whole thing is healing. So, music saved my life, and I always wanted to do something that mattered for people above just like self-expression and whatever, however far I want to take this. My biggest achievement, I would say, is that every day I get to do something that I truly believe helps people. And that matters the most, by far.
What do you wish you had known earlier?
TikTok was going to blow up. I was like, forget about that. No,
That's a good answer.
I mean, that's definitely on the list. Jump on every single social media platform the second that they come out, because they push you, and then when idiots like I, catch up, it's already too late.
Are you on Blue Sky?
Nope. What's Blue Sky?
Blue Sky is kind of the alternative to Twitter.
Okay.
Or X now, I guess.
Starting a Blue Sky today.
It's cool.
Let
it's
it be the
more
day.
Intellectual.
Yeah.
It's like people that are fighting the power.
That's kind of what it's turned into.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I got a Blue Sky account at the beginning of the pandemic when it kind of first started, and I maybe been there 3 times.
Yeah.
But
Every time he was out there with that chainsaw, though, I'm sure the signups went through the roof.
Yes.
Yeah. No, to seriously answer your question, it's just... I guess I wish I'd realized how little probably put this in the best words, but how little the noise matters. How little comparison of your career to somebody else's matters. You have to be willing to take your own path unapologetically, and you can't look at yourself at 25 years old and see all your friends in this apartment, or 30 years old and everybody's doing this. You need to look at what you want, you need to set your goals, and you need to craft your life short and long term for you, and trust the process and trust that it's okay, and it might not look like anybody else's path around you. It's important to surround yourself with like-minded people for that reason. That could be helpful, but even if you don't have that around you, even if you feel isolated in a period of time, you have to really trust and believe in yourself. And a lot of people around you, not even meaning to be harmful, will step in and give you advice and try to help you because they care about you. But no one really understands what you're trying to do except yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to trust that.
You need to just wear a sign around your neck.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
So long as you're not hurting anybody.
Right.
You know, there's no... I don't believe in climbing on anyone's back to the top. You never need to do that. If you ever feel in your career that's what you need to do, that your success is at the expense of somebody else, you know, we're not playing the World Series. There doesn't have to be a loser. Rising tides.
Yeah.
The better that everybody does in a scene, the better that you do.
Right.
The more that you try to compete in something like music, the more you sink yourself. You should compete with yourself fiercely.
Agreed.
Always try to get better.
Agreed.
And it's good to look at what's being made around you as a benchmark and as inspiration. You know, it's good to go to a live show and see, like, what's working. Like, damn, like, that was really cool what they did.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I can take it, you know, make a derivative of that works for me. But, like, man, never compare yourself. That's the worst thing with musicians. Like, unnecessary competition.
Mm-hmm.
And many are not like that. But, you know, if you look at any of the great scenes and any of the, you know, any of these hubs of music that we love, like take Seattle, for example, take like Laurel Canyon, for example, take, you know, New York and the CBGB scene. I mean, these bands were all friends.
Yeah.
It was a hang. Scenes are everything. Go start a scene.
Go start a scene.
You know, do
Let's
what you
just start
can.
a scene.
Do what you can to get involved in your community, which is why you guys are doing an amazing thing.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think we are starting a
I
scene.
mean, my next question is any advice that you would offer to others, but I feel like you kind of covered that.
That's a big one.
Yeah. I mean, anything that you didn't share just now?
Yeah. Stay focused, don't party. No,
The illusion of partying.
no, listen, I mean, like, it's important to live, but so many people get concerned, like, too involved in, like, social life and
The
stuff
image,
like
yeah.
that. What a freaking waste of time, man. Like, I think if there's any time that I wish I had back in my life, but, like, half the college parties I went to, I'm like, could have been home doing my work, man. Like, that's just me. But no, it really, just stay focused. Seriously, just don't, just because your friends are going out to brunch every Saturday and just because, you know, people are going out and it looks like everyone's like, oh, Friday, let me go out all weekend and get back to work on Monday. Listen, if you're a creative person, that's not your life.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to say no.
Yeah.
If you completely stifle yourself of any sort of life experience, you will impact your creativity, I think, in a negative way. But I would say in a vast majority of cases, people are wasting way too much time on nonsense, social nonsense.
That's really interesting advice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Great.
To all the kids
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. Hey, kids. Who or what inspires you today?
Everything. Well, it inspires me what? As a writer? Or...
However, whether it's to keep making music, whether it's the style of music, personal life, you know, whatever it may be.
Music's a calling.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I really have a choice.
Gun to your head.
It's always inspiring, the love for, the just deep love for music and music history and the whole world of it, and this just ever present desire to discover new music and to make new music is big. Obviously my family has been wonderful, and my friends, and you know, I'm inspired by the younger generation too. You know, I teach, so it's
What
fun.
do you teach?
I teach drums primarily. I work with songwriters and guitar players too. But yeah, I've been teaching drums for a long time.
At your dad's store, or?
Yeah, at the school at Crestwood since like 2010. And I pretty much for a long time before. Now I'm primarily playing live.
Mm-hmm.
My teaching is more minimal, but one time I was teaching 36 drum students a week.
Wow.
So Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, obviously world events are really, you know, in the current state of the world, there's a lot, you know.
There's albums upon albums that can be written about.
Yeah, there's just stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Just life. Everything's inspiring. The desire to just tell stories, and I don't know, when you have those kind of aha moments in your own life, sharing those to have the opportunity to hopefully impact others in a positive way. Yeah, that's again, it just comes back to that. I think the most inspiring thing is just the opportunity to go out and help and heal people. Mm-hmm. Just that energy of being on stage. I always, like I say, like I want to, of course my dream, like any other musician, is to play Madison Square Garden. You know, I won't rest till no. No, but seriously. But it's not for the reason that, like, most would think. It's not to, like, go out to Madison Square Garden to, like, be a rock star. Like, oh, this is massive validation. Look at these 16,000 people singing my lyrics and they all know my name. I could care less if nobody knew my name in the room. Like, no, it's just when you've performed, mm-hmm. you know, every performance has its magic. Playing for 4 people has its magic. Playing for 4,000 people has its magic. 400's a different thing.
Right.
But there's just something about, just that collective energy of people in a room. That's just the most beautiful thing. And if you could be holding a mic in that situation and singing your songs, and it matters, and everyone could be in that together and sharing in that together, that's awesome, man.
What are you passionate about today?
A lot of things. I'm passionately frustrated in the way that people treat each other on a whole. I'm passionate about it, doing all I can on every small scale to just treat people with respect. Mm-hmm. I'm passionate about my family and friends. I'm passionate about health and fitness. A lot. Yeah. A lot, I guess. And I'm obviously deeply passionate about music.
This is... The other 3 musicians that we interviewed are farther along in their careers, older. So I'll ask you this question anyway. It's a little awkward because you're younger, but what do you hope your legacy will be?
Oh, I hope I was able to write songs that obviously meant something to people. Mm-hmm. I just want to be kind. I honestly, listen, I'm far from perfect. You know, we all are. But I hope that I can use, you know, I've had a lot of lows in my life too, if I'm being completely honest. And, you know, I struggle with that stuff still every day, but there's a lot I've overcome. And I think every artist can relate to that, but I hope that Chris Christopherson quotes it in the song Why Me, which is, you know, what's the lyric? Fuck, I'm blanking on her, sorry, edit out my lyric. But it's basically the idea of being able to use your struggles and what you've overcome to be able to show somebody else to be able to do the same.
Yeah. I
hope that I can help lift people up with my music and any story, whatever. No, but seriously, I just want I want my music and my career to have a positive impact on those who need it, to whatever level.
If it's any consolation, whenever I'm describing you to someone, part of how I describe you is you are such a nice person that is like part of my description every time.
Well,
So
thank
I think
you.
you're
You
achieving
too.
it. Thanks.
Not
You-
me, man. I say massive dick.
Just I'm sorry. I know.
Justin can't stand it.
I owe you a beer or something. Man.
You kind of already
You gotta sit
answered.
down.
You kind of already answered this question, but it is always my favorite question to ask. So I'll just ask it again in case there's more. What's your dream besides the Madison Square Garden?
No, exactly
Yeah.
what I was saying just now. It's to be able to affect people in a positive way. If
Yeah.
I could have a fraction of the effect that like Chris Christopherson has had on me, on somebody else, I don't care how many people.
Mm-hmm.
You can bury me happy.
Yeah.
Straight up. That's it. That's the dream. So I don't know. I'll keep doing this as long as
As long as you can, huh?
yeah.
Anything I didn't ask that you think is important for me, people to know?
I'm really interested in a Mountain Valley water sponsorship. You guys are seeing this video. I no microplastics in my life, man. So no, I'm just kidding.
So refreshing.
It's so good.
I'm parched.
Saratoga's coming good in second place right now. I'm at top of Chico's. Yeah, but I'm more of a green guy.
Yeah.
I got Kevin onto this because Kevin's from Arkansas, and like he sees me drinking this all the time. I was like, you know where this water's from, man? It's from Arkansas.
Oh,
So
man.
now he's totally turned on to Mountain Valley.